Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the JT Pitstop. I am your host, Joe, joined by Trevor up there, and we're about to talk Phoenix, a new Arrow package, and drama. Okay? So, at the end of the day, Phoenix, our winner going back to back was William Byron for Team Hendrick in the number 24 Chevrolet Valvoline this time. It was kind of cool. But that doesn't tell us the whole story. Um, this race, very much like last week, largely uneventful. Even though the main on track product with the new low downforce package made it a little bit more interesting. Guys were slipping around a little bit more, but there really was not a lot of passing going on. It just was that same situation where you can change that up, but Phoenix is still gonna Phoenix. So there were no incidents at all in the first stage of the race. William Byron kind of went out, cleaned it up, won stage one. Short stage, only 65 laps, so no pit stops or anything like that in it. It was just kind of, here's the green flag. Let's run 65 laps. What'd you think of stage one?
Boring.
Boring. Yeah, that's yeah, yeah. I
It
hear
was
you
just
there.
boring, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know. The start was cool because they were all there, and then it was just like, yeah, all right, we're gonna log laps. I mean,
yeah. It's kind of what they
not a
did.
fan.
Everyone just they started and they're like, all right, let's feel out this package. Nobody was really being aggressive or anything like that. It was just kind of, your run of the mill average Phoenix race. It didn't seem
Yep.
super exciting or anything like that.
No.
However, the pit stops were pretty exciting. Um, so at the stage end pit stops, you had AJ Allmendinger and Ty Dillon got speeding penalties. The 45 of Tyler Reddick, they had a very slow stop because they didn't get the lug nut on right away. So that kind of shuffled up the running order. Stage two went green. No real incidents too much in stage two. There were a couple speeding penalties during green flag pit stops for Michael McDowell and Kyle Busch, which also Kyle Busch had an issue with his tire on his pit stop. They let tire get away, so he had to make a double pit stop, which was unfortunate for him. But then we made it all the way lap 138 when Eric Almirola. It looked like he blew a right front and just pile drove the wall, and they apparently the wheel had broke on it.
Yeah.
Which I what then and then NASCAR goes and penalizes them for the wheel coming off the car when it's like you could see on the replay like half the wheel was still on the car, but the other half was rolling away, and but the lug nut was still holding on part of the wheel,
Yeah.
and they gave them an uncontrolled tire penalty, which is what we normally see when a tire breaks loose and rolls off the car. But this one, just the wheel broke in half.
Right.
So I thought that was really weird that they penalized them for that. Trevor, what'd you think of that?
I thought it was BS.
Yeah,
Like, how are you gonna get penalized because the wheel broke? It's an aluminum wheel, all right,
yeah,
and he hit the wall, the wheel breaks and rolls away. How is that uncontrolled? I mean, well, so now that I think about this and I say it out loud, and we'll probably get this a few times a year, right?
yeah.
Technically, it was an uncontrolled tire, Joe.
Technically, yes.
It was. So,
Technically, the tire
that's
came
not
off the wheel and rolled away, and
uncontrollable.
the penalty says
I mean,
uncontrolled tire. It doesn't say anything
right.
about the wheel. So
No, no, yeah.
I don't know.
I thought that was like I'm trying not to swear, but I think it was just bogus. I really do. I think it was a bogus ass call. I don't think that he should have ever got in trouble for it. It
Yeah,
wasn't a lug nut coming off. I think maybe they should go and revise the rule
yeah.
so that this is an aluminum rule. All right, so everybody out there, I do aluminum extrusion. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
what I do. It's my job. I mess with aluminum all day long, and it's really, really strong metal compared to what it used to be,
Yeah.
but it's not steel. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's lighter because it's not as strong. Now we can get it almost as strong, and we can do a
Mhm.
lot of things with it, but it is still not a steel 15-inch rim that has tons of how do you say it, like tons of space on it, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean, like as far as surface space, it has tons of
Yeah.
surface space compared to this rim right here. Look, it's got a bunch of spokes. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not a lot. That's not a lot. This isn't a 15-inch steel rim that we're used to run, where you would barely ever see this happen on the old tires. This is an aluminum spoked
Yeah.
rim. Go hit a curb with this and find out what happens. And he mowed the wall down with it, and it broke. I mean, how are you
Yeah.
going to penalize a team because you issued a wheel that was a faulty wheel?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was a BS charge.
It
I don't think
was.
Eric Almirola should have been penalized
Yeah,
for it
they
or
held him on.
anything
They
else.
held him for 2 laps based on the loose tire penalty. When he hits the wall, the wheel breaks in half, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna penalize you for that. When it's not even like anything.
Right,
Like normally, like that. I feel like the spirit of that rule is for like if you have a lug nut that comes
right,
loose and the wheel rolls off, which is what we
right.
usually see,
Yeah,
that gets a penalty. But this wheel, the lug nut was still there with
right.
what was left of that wheel. The lug nut was still there.
Yeah,
So
yep.
I don't know.
Bogus.
I think that was a bad call by NASCAR, and I hope they go look back on that one. But I mean, after the caution, it didn't really change anything. Kyle Larson wound up winning stage number 2 on the restart. So definitely good for the Hendrick team in Phoenix this week, except
They
for
have
some other stuff that we'll talk about later. So,
they have really showed up on this West Coast
oh,
swing,
absolutely.
right?
They
I
they were
mean,
they were fast at Auto Club. They were
yeah,
fast at Vegas. Then winning at
yeah,
Vegas. They were fast again at Phoenix. You know, that's several. Like those are 3 completely unique tracks from each other, and it was Hendrick cars up front all day long, all 3 weeks.
yeah.
So definitely good for them. Stage number 3 started off exactly the way the rest of the race had been going. It was long. It was green. There was really not a lot happening until the 4 of Kevin Harvick managed to run down Kyle Larson and pass him for the lead. And it looked like Kevin Harvick was going to just run away with this thing. I mean, he was just taking off. It was looking like Kevin Harvick, the Phoenix Master. He's back at it again. He's going to win Phoenix. When suddenly,
Yeah, I was rooting for him
I,
because I picked him, but I
I,
was also rooting for him.
I
Like
know.
I was sitting there, I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a pick from last week.
Yeah.
But even if I didn't, right? Like
Yeah.
it was so awesome to see Kevin Harvick doing what he does at Phoenix
Yeah.
and like just going out there and wheeling that car and
Yep.
making it, you know.
But yeah, Harrison
Wait,
Burton's.
oh, I'm getting some feedback from myself.
Oh, are
Just
you?
to let you
Okay, I
know.
can
Yeah,
turn
yeah, a
it
little
down
bit.
a little bit. There
Yep,
we go.
there we go.
Okay. Harrison Burton did Harrison Burton things and spun out with 10 laps to go. And this set up the exact same situation we saw last
Yeah,
week at Las Vegas, where you had a
yeah,
guy that was leading the race, and they get beat on pit road because the 4 team decided they were going to take 4 tires. Which, to be fair, at the time there were 10 laps left in the race. It wasn't initially slated to be a green white checker. However, you also had a dozen other cars all take 2 tires. So that took the 4 car from leading the race to deep in the midfield, and chaos broke out on that restart. AJ Allmendinger got spun around. Ty Gibbs got some heavy damage. It was total chaos, absolute chaos, and that set it up for another green white checker, where William Byron, using the outside lane and with a little help from Ryan Blaney, because he kind of stuck it in there trying to pass Kyle Larson. He was going to try to win the race, and then Reddick gave William Byron a shove down the backstretch, and he was able to clear everybody, and You can't really run somebody down once they clear you at Phoenix. Like once someone gets out, that's it. Phoenix is over.
Yeah.
So William Byron went back to back, and yeah, uh, that was Phoenix. Not a whole lot to talk about. Uh,
Woo!
yeah, same old Phoenix. So, Trevor, what do you think of Phoenix?
Phoenix is Texas's little brother.
Yeah, I
That,
think
that's how I feel about it. In a
yeah,
way. Um, so the race I thought was somewhat interesting in the third stage because you had these Hendrick cars and so fast,
yeah,
and then Kevin Harvick does Kevin Harvick and Rodney Childers things, and they just get that car going. It's
yeah.
moving. We're rooting for Kevin last season, win at Phoenix. That'd be awesome. Like badass. Um, I thought that it kind of sucks that the past couple weeks we see these guys just spin in the closing laps,
Yeah.
cause these cautions, and totally plot twist it, and being the theorist, conspiracy theorist that I am sometimes of NASCAR being NASCAR is like, are are they paying someone to come out with these late race
Okay.
cautions to
If
add excitement
if
into
it was
the
somebody
pits?
other than Harrison Burton, I might buy into that theory. But I mean,
I mean, last
it's
week it was Eric Almirola, right?
Almirola,
And then
yeah.
I mean, I feel like maybe these four guys are like, oh hey, like let's cause these late race cautions and get
But
some
what?
TV time because we can't get TV time any other way. And then on top of that, like
Yeah. I don't think so,
you
because
know,
if I'm being honest, like if NASCAR was out there like we're gonna manufacture a storyline, what better storyline is there than Kevin Harvick, Mr. Phoenix himself, winning Phoenix on his retirement tour? Like I think like if NASCAR was like really controlling the race, they would not have let that caution come out. They would have been, okay, everybody on your best behavior, please. Like let this finish out. But
kinda.
I think Harrison Burton just made a mistake, like he does every
All
other
right.
week. It's just
Yeah.
it's
I
Harrison
mean,
Burton. I mean,
you're not lying. It
yeah,
is Harrison Burton, and you know, it is the. I feel like it's the 21 car curse. I mean,
yeah,
they've been cursed for a long time. I feel
yeah.
like, but you know, I don't know. I don't. NASCAR doesn't throw bogus debris cautions anymore, so I feel like
Yeah.
now they're doing bogus. Hey, spin the car precautions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of, well, it's kind of this thing where they got the guy in the tower and he's just got like the binoculars on and he's
Yeah.
watching like a hawk. He's like, "Oh, somebody hit the wall! Smash the yellow flag button! Just smash it! Let's go! We got drama." Because I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest. If there wasn't a late caution at Phoenix, like there would be nothing to talk about from this race. This race would have just been, yep, there it goes.
Right.
That was one of the Phoenix races of all time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It
but
really wasn't. I didn't feel like this new package did anything.
I think it did. I don't think it did what people were wanting it to do. I think it definitely put handling into effect. Like you saw some guys that normally don't run really well running really well at Phoenix this week. Like I'm talking Brad Keselowski was running up into the top 5 and top 10 almost the entire day before getting stocked up in the caution. You had Kevin Harvick that was running really good, which he's really good at Phoenix. The 4 team has been just kind of okay, but he was able to use his driving talents to really elevate that car and make something happen at Phoenix. And you saw the same thing with Ryan Blaney. He's really good at Phoenix and was able to run up front. So I definitely think this package helped, put more of the makeup of the race in the driver's hands. And I think it did a really good job of that. But
Yeah.
what it's not going to do is give you that side by side racing at Phoenix. There's
Right.
no package that's going to give you side by side action at Phoenix. Like that's just what it is.
I mean, I feel like we had better racing with the Gen 6 car at Phoenix.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. I think they could still improve this
Yes.
package for short tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm interested to find out what's going to happen at the road courses with this package,
Yes.
not having all the
Circuit of the
downforce.
Americas is going to be really interesting, and I'm really interested to see what it does at Martinsville. Because I think
Yep.
taking all that downforce off at Martinsville is going to slow those corner speeds down a little bit, and I think it's going to make Martinsville very interesting when we get there.
Right. Yeah.
But we'll see. So, moving on, we had the Xfinity Series, United Rentals 200. This race was better than the Cup race once again,
Once again.
and once again,
Yep.
that's the thing is like the Xfinity car, like it just puts on such good racing that I don't
Yep.
know why we can't replicate that in the Cup Series to an extent, because like it just seems like every weekend it's like, oh, that was a boring Cup race, but oh, let's go to the Xfinity Series and it's got all this talent and not talent but all this action, and I think
Right.
part of it is also just from the lack of talent in the series. Not saying that there's not
Oh
talented
yeah.
guys in the
Yeah.
Xfinity
Right.
series, but you
Right.
don't have that experience in the
Right.
Xfinity series, so you kind of have guys that are a lot more aggressive at
Hmm.
certain
And
points,
they're trying
which
to prove themselves. It's almost
yeah,
like football, right? Like you
yeah,
watch a college game and you're like, man, that was a good college game. And then you go watch NFL game and it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it was a NFL game. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So
I always feel like the when people are out there trying to prove their talent, improve their skill, and they're going to
yes,
overdrive things, they're going to do more because they're trying to really get after it to make
yeah,
themselves to that next level. I think
yeah,
that's what you get in the trucks and Xfinity both.
yeah.
They're both pretty good.
Well, we saw more of that this week
Oh
in
yeah.
the Xfinity race. The first caution of the day came out. Leyland Honeyman got up into the wall and just ripped the rear bumper cover off the car, and that kind of fell onto the track. They were just watching it for like 2 laps, and I was like, "That's gonna be a debris caution."
Oh yeah.
And there it goes, debris caution. I think who was it? Greg Galding, I think, hit it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something
Yeah, and then
like
it's just
that.
did a bunch of damage, and then so they restarted, and it was not long after the restart that Josh Berry got spun after some contact from Chandler Smith.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that was some interesting contact there. Kind of
Yeah.
unfortunate for Berry. But
Awesome.
Justin Allgaier wins stage number one.
Mhm.
We had 2 cautions, a lot of passing, a lot of action. What did you think of stage one of the Xfinity race?
I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
I I see where Algier pulled that pit strategy from to get the points, right?
yeah.
And I see what he was doing there, but I almost feel like that pit strategy is what cost him the race.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the pit strategy got him out front in stage one. He won stage one, and then so we moved on to stage number two. And stage two, just like last week at Vegas, stage two was chaos in the Xfinity race. You had Brett Moffitt spun out, Mozak spun out. John Hunter Nemechek had a restart lane violation, jumped the restart too early while leading the race.
No, it wasn't that he jumped the
Oh, the
restart.
lane
He
change.
went
The lane
he
change,
went
yeah.
down under the white line. I wanted to say yellow line. He went under the
Yeah.
white line in the lead before he got to the start
Yeah.
finish line. Like he just said, "Oh, screw it." Bam.
Yep.
Like, what are you doing?
Lane
Why
change
would you?
violation, dude. What are you doing?
Come on, man. You just like screwed yourself on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, he did a pretty good job recovering from that, but it took him the
Yeah.
entire race to recover from
Yep.
that penalty.
Right.
And that's just part of Phoenix. And then a couple laps later, Josh Berry spins out again. He did not
Off of
have a
the
good
bumper of
race.
his off the bumper of his teammate.
Yes, Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer got
No, it
him.
was. It wasn't it. I thought it was the 9.
Nope, it was the
Uh,
one.
oh.
No, the
Oh.
nine got him later.
Oh. All
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
yeah, the nine got him later.
Yeah.
No, in stage two when Barry spun out, that was the one of Sam Mayer. Got into him in that one, and then Justin Allgaier went on to win stage number two. So stage two was the chaos stage of the race. What'd you think? I thought it was action packed. It was fun
Yeah, I loved
from
it.
start to
Yeah.
finish. Like that's like what we want, and it's cool
Yep.
that like Phoenix delivered there, which is action and incidents and guys just running each other over and tempers flaring
Right.
and
Yep.
drama.
Yeah.
It was great. Stage two was
Yep.
fantastic.
I thought it was great. I couldn't ask for a better race there, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean,
So,
always
uh,
always fun to watch racing like that.
yeah. Moving on to stage three. Stage three, seemed to be trending the same way Las Vegas stage three did in the Xfinity race last week. Where it was just going green forever. It was just going green. It was going green, and then we get down to like the final laps, and our first caution of the day came out with Greg Galding mechanical issues, came to a stop up by the wall, and
Yep.
this set up restart after restart after restart because there was just all kinds of things happening. We had just a couple laps after the restart from Greg Golding's caution. We had Sheldon Creed got spun around, and then restart a couple laps later. The 78 gets spun around, and then you restart a couple laps later, and this is where we had all the action. There's like four racing 3 and 4 wide on a restart. The 9 gets into the 7, that gets into the 26, that then takes somebody else out, and it was just it was a big crash. It was just everybody just racing 3 and 4 wide, fighting for the same piece of real estate. And then you know there's one more restart after that that went clean, gave us the finish we wanted, and Sammy Smith got his first Xfinity Series win at Phoenix. But that doesn't tell us the whole story because on the final lap, I don't know if you saw this, but Kyle Busch, Chandler Smith racing the
Yeah.
wheels out of each other. Kyle Busch was
Yeah.
trying so hard to finish ahead of Chandler Smith, got jacked all kinds of sideways and almost just barely saved it. And got like a 10th
Almost
place
took a
finish.
Chandler right out.
I know, he almost took him right out. But
Yeah.
yeah, so what do you think of stage three, the Xfinity race? Long
I
green
thought it
flag
was.
runs and a series of cautions. So
I mean, action packed.
yeah,
And even in the green flag runs, it wasn't like I mean there's more racing in that series than we saw on Sunday. I
yeah,
mean, I feel like the race package that Xfinity has right now is just so much better than
yeah,
what we're seeing coming out of the Cup, no matter where we are. And it makes you wonder, like, why is this like it almost like the second year in a row we're
yeah,
seeing this ever since we got this car. We're seeing the same thing again, and I thought that when we were looking at how they were trying to get all of the downforce to come from under the cup car, right?
yeah,
Like that. I mean, that's the whole reason why we have all of these aero effects and everything that we have. We're trying to stop this big bubble of air that was
yeah,
happening after the Gen 6 car to help with the passing and everything else. Now, the Xfinity cars are very similar to that Gen 6 package, and they're putting on a better show than what this new car is putting on. And
yeah,
it's like, why is this happening like this? Like, I don't
yeah.
understand how
Like
these cars are doing so great and the Cup cars aren't.
I hope the guys at NASCAR are looking at this because if I was in charge of putting together a racing product,
Right.
no way would I have my secondary series be putting on the best, most entertaining product. Like that cup race on Sunday is the one that brings in all the eyeballs. It brings in all the sponsors. It brings in all the viewers on TV. Like people want to watch the best of the best in the cup series. That race needs to put on the best show of the weekend. Without a doubt. That's what it needs to do.
Do you think that this could possibly be because these cars are so similar? They're getting all these parts from the same person, and Xfinity teams are building their cars, so they're putting what they know that they need into their
Yeah.
car to get it to be a good race car, where these cup teams are kind of like in this like this little window,
Yeah.
they
I
can
mean I mean we see that in the sim when you do like fixed racing, right? Like
right,
you got a guy that's really good, and if he's really good, he's gonna go out there and win every race. because
Right.
that's the difference is what the driver is.
Right.
And I think with I think the goal of the next gen was obviously for parity, because you want to go into a race weekend and not know who's going to win the race. You want it to be a competitive race. You know, somebody could hit it, somebody could not hit it. You can get those surprise winners, which we saw a lot of last year, which was really
Oh
fun
yeah.
because you saw all these new winners. But
Right.
I think as the teams are kind of getting their handle on it, you're starting to see that same breakaway that we saw with the old car. And right now it's Hendrick. Hendrick is just back on top. They're running away with it. And it's Hendrick and Team Chevy. And everybody else is still playing catch up. And even with the car, and the problem is because it's a car in a box, it's literally like a package deal. There's very few things they can change. It's those minute differences that they have right now that other teams do not have. And
Right.
it's creating an even bigger disparity because there's fewer things that the other teams can do to try to catch up.
Right. Yeah.
So I I don't know what the answer is. Obviously, like the next gen was supposed to bring costs down, increase parity, which it has done. It
Yeah.
has
Oh
done
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it's missing something. And I don't know exactly what it's missing, but it's missing that raceability to put on a good race.
I think it's missing horsepower, man.
That's true. Horsepower
That's
would
what.
fix a lot of it, but I mean the
But
Xfinity cars.
so well, yeah. No, Xfinity cars don't have. Or they're similar in power. They don't have as much power.
The Xfinity cars have
Um.
510 horsepower.
Okay. All right. Yep. So
They
I mean,
they
right.
have less and they're putting on a good race. So
It could also. I think that part of the situation is the tires.
yeah, well yeah, because
I
the
don't.
Nextions have those big wide tires now,
Right.
and it's
Yep.
just I don't
But
know.
I don't think Goodyear actually has the data that they need to put on a good racing tire yet. The
Yeah,
tires that Xfinity is using, they've used those tires for what, 20 something years
yeah,
probably. I mean, or not, if not more. I mean, they've
yeah,
had that same style tire for a long time. They can do all kinds of things. They know how to build those tires to make a good racing tire with those.
yeah,
Tires are a big factor in any type of racing that you go to. It
yeah.
doesn't matter if it's RC car racing all the way up to real life racing. Tires are tires, and tires can make a race or break a race. And I think that's
Absolutely.
kind of what we, us NASCAR fans, need to realize
Mm,
is that the teams are doing everything they can being in their box. And yeah,
right.
you're going to see those high dollar teams no matter what you do. If you bring down the cost, they got more money to dump in to research
Yeah,
in other places now to know what they're doing. But if the tires aren't giving the product that we need, then we're just going to keep getting these races over and over again
yeah,
because you don't see a lot of fall off, which fall off is where I didn't think two tires was going to work. I
yeah,
don't know. What I don't think that four tires was going to win the race if we went green from 10 laps to go in the Cup
yeah,
Series. I don't
yeah.
think that was going to happen.
That's the thing is like there should be enough time because they ran for a long time before that caution came out. That there's no way two tires should have been able to hold on as good as they did.
No.
Like if I was sitting on the box, my call would have been for four tires as well.
Right.
Like that's what I would have called, and that's
Yep.
what Rodney Childers called.
Yep.
But there just wasn't enough fall off, and it was the two tires that just were able to hold on.
Yep. And I don't feel like Phoenix is. So Martinsville, right? Let's just say we were at Martinsville and you made those calls. Half a dozen people stay out, dozen people stay out, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you came in and got four tires. You know right then and there you're in a box.
Yeah,
When that green flag dropped at 10 to go, I thought that Kevin Harvick was just gonna rocket ship around
yeah,
everyone. It didn't matter if he was on the inside or if he was on the outside because you can use the
mm-hmm.
apron in 1 and 2.
Yeah,
I mean, we see it all the time. People go down there and use the apron and make up time when they have all that grip
yeah.
that
I mean,
they should have had.
we saw it at Vegas too. There were guys that
Yep.
took four tires at the end of Vegas and went nowhere.
Right.
which that surprised me more than Phoenix, because I would have thought
Yep.
Vegas, that's a nice wide track, multi groove. Like if you got 4 tires, you can just go out there, rip the top, and just drive around everybody, and nobody could do that.
Right.
And it was the same thing with Phoenix. Like you kind of got put in a box, and Martinsville's going to be more the same for sure,
Yeah.
unless they get some fall off. So I'm really hoping they make some changes to this tire, because it's got to have more fall off, and you should not be. And I don't want to say you shouldn't be winning races on 2 tires, but like that shouldn't be like the default call when it comes down to
Right.
these end of these races. There should
Yep.
be some payoff. Like, yeah, you're gonna get the track position with 2 tires, but 4 tires should be able to make the moves and make the passes.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And I guess we'll find out. So moving on from Phoenix, we had some breaking news come out actually earlier today that we need to talk about. But before we get to that, it was announced that Jimmy Johnson will be returning to the NASCAR Cup Series, not only at Circuit of the Americas, but also for the Coke 600 as well. Trevor, what do you think about Jimmy Johnson returning to the Coke
I love
600?
Jimmy Johnson being on the track, period.
Yeah,
For the Coke 600, I was surprised
yeah,
that was going to be one. I kind of circled Coda as a track that he was going to come to,
right.
right?
Yeah, because he wants to get that road course experience.
Right. Going to Lamar in the
Yeah,
car. So that one, I was like, yeah, all right. I thought that when it came out, it was going to be Dover.
yeah,
Jimmy Johnson was Mr. Dover for I don't know how many years. I mean, I thought that was going to be the track, and it comes out as Charlotte. And I was like, in the 600, right? I mean,
yeah,
like, dude, holy moly. Like, I don't even think, besides, he's only done the Daytona 500. And
yeah,
that's really not an attrition race. Now he's going to go do the biggest, baddest race that we go, like the longest race, the 6 hour event.
yeah.
You know, well, I think he's going to do good because he's one fit person. So
Oh yeah,
I'm excited.
yeah.
I'm excited to watch what happens.
I think he'll have a good effort there. Charlotte was always a track that Jimmy Johnson ran well at,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I really think that with this next gen car, and I've been really looking forward to seeing what he does in the oval with the next gen car. He jumped into Daytona. It was natural for him. Daytona pack racing. He got right up in the mix. Was in contention
Yep.
right at the end.
Right.
I expect more of the same for the Coke 600. I don't necessarily think he'll be running quite up front, but I think he'll be within that top 15 range. Is kind of about where I expect Jimmy to run.
I mean, I expect Jimmy to run anywhere from
First to 40th?
sixth. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean, realistic. Like, I mean,
yeah,
obviously, but I think he could definitely finish, right outside the top five. But I
yeah,
don't expect him to be any lower than like 16.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like in that window,
yeah. That's kind of
top
where
top
I,
5 to 15, but like maybe you might see a 17th or
yeah.
something.
I
Yeah,
think he'll probably start off a little bit slower as he kind of just gets reacclimated to the car.
right,
But with the Coke 600 having 4 total stages, you got 4 guaranteed cautions every 100 laps. As long as they don't get super far behind, I think Jimmy Johnson will just get more familiar with the car, get more comfortable with the car, and then Jimmy Johnson is going to do Jimmy Johnson things. I
right.
mean, the last time he ran the Coke 600, he almost won the race.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
and that was in an off year, wasn't running that great that year, and he still almost won the Coke 600. So I would not be surprised to see Jimmy Johnson in that top 10, maybe even that top 5 by the end of that race.
No.
I'm looking forward to that. Let's get into penalties, because there were some pretty big penalties that were
Oh
dropped this week. So before the
boy.
cars even hit the track at Phoenix, NASCAR confiscated the louvers. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right, and I
Yep.
I think those arrow plates in the diffuser. I think
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Yep. So they
So they're
confiscated.
right. Oh wait. Let me see.
Oh,
Right here.
oh,
Right
that's
here.
those
These
those are the
things.
hood things.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the louvers.
Okay.
That's what they confiscated.
Okay. So they took those from all 400 teams and the colleague cars. And after assessing those, NASCAR decided that those parts were not within specifications and just absolutely hammered all 400 teams plus the 31 team with a 100
Why
point.
not the 16?
I guess they had good
That
leaders.
that is a question I have. If
Yeah.
like, I man, I wish I would have been home for Race Hub before we had this because when I
Yeah.
was watching this or when I read this about the breaking news at work, I was like, what did they do?
Yeah.
What did they do? Why
Yeah.
don't you tell us what they did?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I want to know. I
Yeah.
want to know.
All they said was that the parts were not within specification. Hendrick was like, "But you gave us the parts," so they're
Right.
appealing the penalty. But yeah, they got hit. All four teams plus the 31 team, 100 point penalty, fined $50,000, crew chief suspended for 4 weeks, and a loss of 10 playoff points should they make the playoffs.
I thought it was
Um,
$100,000.
and there's $50,000 per car, or was it 100,000? I can't
No,
remember.
I'm pretty sure it was 100,000
Was it?
because Hendrick got hit with four hundred
Oh,
thousand
okay.
dollars.
Okay, yeah. So it was $100,000 penalty for all five teams.
Yeah.
Which definitely shakes things up. Obviously, the 24 still locked into the playoffs. What they found, they got it before the car even hit the track, so they didn't encumber the win or anything like that. The 24 car, despite missing 100 points, down there in the standings, still locked into the playoffs. However, the ones this really hurts is the 5 of Kyle Larson and the 48 of Alex Bowman, because Alex Bowman was the points leader
Yep.
after Phoenix, now outside of the playoffs. Kyle Larson now only has 37 points. He is below Cody Ware in standings. And as far as Chase Elliott goes, they have negative 37 points right now. But that doesn't change their picture at all, because with Chase Elliott sitting out races, they
Well,
still had to win. So
it's if I read what I read correctly, this is
yeah,
how I understood it was that the the car itself with Chase Elliott and Josh Berry got docked 100 points, but
yeah.
Chase Elliott himself still keeps his points that
Oh,
he
okay. So
has
they were the
because
9 team
he
was just
wasn't even there.
okay. So
So
then
the 9 car,
they were
the
docked
car
owners
itself,
points, not drivers points.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Cool.
yep,
Okay, so that makes sense. So yeah, Chase is still, his situation does not change because he was not docked driver's points, but with still being out on injury, he's still going to have to win a race to make the playoffs, and that that
right,
is that is what their situation is. The
yep,
situation for the 9 of Chase Elliott has not been changed by this penalty.
no,
But this definitely puts a wrench in the plans for Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson,
yeah, it
and
sucks.
Justin Haley as well. Let's not forget Justin Haley.
No.
In addition to that, penalties for Denny Hamlin. Uh,
Yeah, what an idiot!
yeah.
Oh my god.
So Denny Hamlin at the end of the Phoenix race. So I watched some onboards of this, and on the restart, Ross Chastain was kind of brake checking Denny Hamlin a little bit. So Denny Hamlin just goes in there and just puts Ross Chastain in the wall, and then goes on his podcast, Actions Detrimental with Denny Hamlin. And I'll be honest, I knew he was going to get in trouble from this podcast. I did not think
Yeah,
it was going to be this quickly, but he goes on there and says, "Yeah, I was in a bad spot, and I said you're going to finish back there with me,"
right.
and just let go of the wheel and put Ross Chastain in the wall, took him back there, and NASCAR said, "You know what? Thanks for admitting that on your show. We're going to penalize you for intentional wrecking," and they docked him with a 25-point penalty and fined him $50,000. So, good job.
Yeah. Way to screw yourself, man.
Way to just put your foot in your mouth, you know?
Yeah. Oh, dude, when I seen him come out there and say it, I was like, that ain't gonna end good.
Nope.
Ain't good at all. So, what? It don't matter. And now Ross knows that you wrecked him on purpose, but from that podcast, he said that they had a talk, and
Well,
hopefully now they're gonna
Well, yeah,
race each other with more respect. But
that's the
then
thing. I heard
Dale
about it.
Jr. download, and the Dale Jr. download, Mike was like, I don't want them to be respectful with each other. I want the rivalry. We don't
Yeah,
have these rivalries. Like, I want this rivalry in NASCAR. I
yeah,
don't want them to respect each other, hate each other, please.
right. Well, and that's the thing. Like I understood is like they after the race, Denny and Ross they were talking on pit road for a long time. Like they were just chatting and talking, and
Right.
it sounded like they had finally brought their issues to the table and addressed them, and were moving on from it. And then NASCAR says, "Well, that may be the case, but you just admitted to wrecking him on your show, and we heard that, so
Yeah.
you're welcome."
We got to do something.
Yeah,
We have to do something. Like, you tied our hands. We have to do something.
yeah.
Because
So
it didn't look that intentional
it
when
it,
the
it
race
didn't
was
until you
going
get on the
on.
microphone and say, "Yeah, I just let go of the wheel."
Yeah. Yeah, I got a microphone too, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
get myself in trouble. Oh,
Ah,
yeah, all
yeah.
right.
Good
Okay,
job, Denny. Good job.
smart. Yeah,
All right.
super smart.
So, moving on, this coming week, we've got racing at Atlanta, Super Speedway
Yeah,
Atlanta. Quick rule change going into this race. They moved the pit road commitment line and speeding zone to just before turn 3 coming out of the backstretch. I don't know if you heard
yeah,
about this. So,
yeah.
yeah. That's going to
It's gonna be
be
interesting.
interesting. I am kind of nervous about this because when I saw this, like all I know is like you got to slow down for pit road speed going into turn 3, which means they got to wrap all the way around the apron at pit road speed while
That's
cars
so
are still on the
dumb.
racetrack.
So
What's going to
dumb.
happen if you've got cars going pace speed trying to make a green flag pit stop and you got cars that just wadded up into turn 3 and just
Yeah,
like I know it's going to be safer because that pit entrance before was very scary and very
right.
sketchy.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is the right way to do it. I'm interested to see how it goes out. I'm hoping it's not a disaster. We didn't really see too many green flag pit stops at Atlanta anyway last year. They seemed to just wad them up before it was time to make a pit stop. So I'm expecting more of the same because Atlanta is just treacherous like that. It's very
right.
narrow, and
Yep.
you're plate racing on a 1.5 mile track. It's going to be chaos anyway. So chaos aside, who have you got to win Atlanta this weekend?
This is probably the hardest race to pick a driver this year.
Yes.
I think Chicago might be a hard one too, but dude, who am I gonna curse? Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Ricky Stenhouse. All right.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Uh, I mean, it really wouldn't be a bad pick, but um, hmm, I think Joey will be good, but I think because I got the first pick, I'm gonna mess you up and go with old number 6, Brad Keselowski.
Oh, you know, my goal to this year was to pick Brad Kozlowski for every restrictor plate race because that's just what I'm gonna do.
Shouldn't have gave me that first one, dude,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
really
you
think
took my pick.
I
However, I have a backup in place that I am feeling
bet you do.
very confident about, and I'm gonna go with Corey LaJoy to win Atlanta this weekend.
That's on every other racetrack. I would be like, you are nuts.
Yes.
But I cannot argue with that one.
Yes.
I
I mean,
cannot
he was
argue with
he
it
was
at all.
1 block away from winning this race not this race,
Yep.
but the second Atlanta race
Right.
last year.
Yep.
1 block away from winning that race. I think since you took my guy, my backup driver, Corey LaJoy, is going to walk away with the win, and he's going to lock himself into the playoffs. I mean, he is sitting 16th in points right now. If the playoffs were to start today, Corey LaJoy would be in the playoffs.
Right.
And you know what? He's going to win his way into the playoffs, starting with a win at Atlanta this week.
Yeah. No, I think that's actually a good pick. Denny would be strong,
Yeah.
obviously. Joey's gonna be strong. Um, you know,
I
really
just
be
think with
great.
Atlanta, you're not looking at like your typical plate racers to be good there. You're looking
Right.
at your plate racers that are really good at looking after the car. So, your Denny Hamlins, your Corey LaJoyes, Cody Wares, those guys are really good at looking after that car and making sure it finishes at the end of the race. And those are the guys you're going to be looking at to win that race.
Who's your dark horse?
Dark horse? Corey LaJoy? No.
I mean, well,
Technically,
but
yeah. But okay,
I mean,
so
yeah, technically, right?
okay,
But I mean,
a
like,
realistic dark horse, someone that I don't think anyone would expect to win this race, Christopher Buescher.
ooh, yeah, yeah. I mean, if I was to go with the dark horse, I would have to probably pick, yeah, no, yeah, no, I don't know. I would have to say almost like a McDowell,
Yeah,
because McDowell was doing good at Phoenix.
yeah, he was.
He was doing really well at Phoenix. So I'd have to go with McDowell. That'd be my dark horse.
All right. Well, I'm
A
interested to see
wild
how it
card.
shakes out. The Atlanta races were absolutely action packed last year on Super Speedway Atlanta. I thought it was the dumbest shit, but it's going to be fun. Like that's the
I
thing is
still
like
think
it's one of those races that I don't think you can just take seriously. It's
yeah,
it's it's so dumb looking.
I still think it's dumb as shit.
It is. It's so dumb. It's the dumbest thing NASCAR has ever done. But I'll be lying if I said it.
No,
Okay.
no, it's not the dumbest thing
Okay.
NASCAR ever
Okay.
did.
Maybe the
The
dumbest
dumbest
thing.
thing NASCAR ever did was configure Kentucky and then turned around and said, well, this is stupid. Now let's go do the same thing but opposite corners at frickin' Texas. Or
Yes.
was it vice versa? Was
I think
Texas first or was Kentucky first?
Texas was first.
Anyway, the
Texas was
dumbest
first.
thing the dumbest thing they did was configure those tracks and watch one suck ass and then said, "Oh, hey, let's do it to the other one but
Let's do that
opposite."
again, but different.
Yeah. That's
Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
Atlanta, not the dumbest thing that's ever happened.
But definitely second
But it's
or
up there
third.
for sure.
However you want to put it.
Super Speedway Atlanta is the dumbest thing I've ever watched. But like I said, I'd be lying if it wasn't entertaining. It is
Yeah.
super entertaining from start to finish. Both those races last year were so chaotic. They were so entertaining. I could not like just no. I had to watch every bit of it because it was just like, what's gonna happen next? You never know because there's gonna be a big wreck somewhere. Someone's gonna get mad. It's gonna be great. It's
Hey NASCAR, go make Phoenix a super speedway next.
yeah, let's do a super speedway mile track. Let's do that next. Let's do super speedway Martinsville. Let's go.
No. Maybe that'll be Auto Club. Who knows?
Yeah, Auto Club short track will just be super speedway Martinsville. It's like a 40-degree banking, just 200 miles for a little half mile, 1,000 lap race.
Dude, I would have to like go talk to the wife and be like, we're going to California. All
Yeah.
right, like I have to watch this in person. Like Super Speedway Martinsville, here we go, 40-degree banking. Cars couldn't even go around on a pace lap, like no pace laps at all. We're
Yeah.
not doing it. All right, we're
No.
just gonna red flag it, clean the track, and just break you loose. Go.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to another fantastic episode of the JT Pit Stop. I'm looking forward to debriefing Atlanta Super Speedway with you, Trevor. I think it's going to be really fun, and I hope everybody.
Stupid.
It's going to be
It'll be
stupid.
fun and stupid.
It's going to be stupid, but thank you for those that were watching live here on Glimish, and thank you to everybody that's watching on YouTube right now.
Yes. Thank you.
We definitely appreciate it. And any final thoughts, Trevor, before we close out the show tonight?
I just want to thank everybody out there and appreciate all y'all's support. Joe, you have fun at Sebring this week.
That is true. I am going to
And,
Sebring this weekend, so
Yep, I'm going to buy my house on Friday. So it's going to be an
congratulations.
action-packed, fun week for us.
Yep.
And hopefully the racing is the same.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yep, sounds great.
All right, everyone. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.